Hey guys, Heretic U here with 2014 almost done. So I'm getting this like right. Well, depending on where you are, this is going to be, basically on the last day of 2014. Um, yeah, so we're continuing our, kind of look back at 2014 tabletop wise, and this time we're going to look at the top 5 games, in my opinion, of 2014. And I've got a couple more awards to hand out. So yeah. Okay, so let's come in with number 5. Number 5 is going to be Anima Tactics. In my opinion, not only fifth best on my list, but it's also the damn sexiest miniature game out there. I've said this before. I'll say it again. When your zombies look like they do PX90 workouts all day long, you've got one hell of a sexy game. But Anima Tactics is more than just, sexy games or cool looking miniatures. It does have really interesting aesthetic. If you've ever played any of the Final Fantasy games, you know what I'm talking about. Sort of the everyone's tall, skinny. They look like European models, for God's sakes. But if you can get past all of that, um, it's a really awesome game. I mean, it's got some interesting mechanics that, I can honestly say I haven't seen in many other tabletop war games. For example, every other tabletop game has action points, right? We're all used to that. In Anima Tactics, though, your characters regenerate action points at different levels. So let's say you have a character with a max of 4 action points. They might only get 2 or 3 back a turn, which forces players to, kind of conserve action points between turns so that they can maybe start the next turn maxed out. And it also forces you to make tough decisions, like if you're being attacked, you can spend action points to dodge the attack. Um, and that makes for interesting gameplay because that plays into that whole resource management, which I always appreciate in tabletop games. But Anima Tactics has something else that I don't see in other tabletop games, and that is the ability to actually have a defensive playstyle. In so many tabletop games, it's always the aggressor that has an advantage. In Anima Tactics, you can actually use that. If someone comes at you too aggressively, you can actually turn the tables. I mean, there's things like Counter Strike, dodging, as I mentioned, where players can exhaust their action points, and they might have a turn where they really can't do anything. Um, and that plays into that defensive play style. You don't have to play defensive. It might not even be the best way to play, but I do appreciate a game where your in-game tactics don't have to be whoever has the hardest hitting thing and the most aggressive thing is going to have, an innate advantage. So, yeah, those are just a couple of things I really like about Anima Tactics, besides the models, the looks. Um, the downside, I think, Anima Tactics suffers. The scenarios are, they seem a little bit like an afterthought. They're not very cinematic. And for a game which plays on a narrative where it actually feels like you're playing an RPG with levels and buying items and things like that for your characters, I do wish that the scenarios were a little bit more involved. There's a couple of nice ones in there. I just wish that all the scenarios sort of had a narrative element to it. Okay, so our first award of part 2 goes to Train Makers. Um, best train showcase or instructional video, as I'd like to say. Um, basically, yeah, I think this is part of the hobby that I wish I could do more of. I dabble at it, but you know, people who do train, I have a lot of respect for. I mean, there's been a lot of amazing videos out there, but in the end, I had to give it to Viv at Rubbish In and Rubbish Out. Not because he bribed me by getting me a set of Incursion, but I'm going to put a link to the video. The video, I believe, let me look it up. It's called Making a Spaceboard for X-Wing or Battlefleet Gothic. And the reason why I picked this video amongst everything else is it's out of the train videos I've seen, this is probably the cheapest. If you think about the materials he used to make this, which was like a lid from a paint can, a couple of cans of spray paint, and a flat surface, you could make this board for maybe $10. And tell me when you've ever made a train board for that cheap. So it's pretty amazing. Viv makes it look really easy, and to be honest, I never thought of if you handed me 2 cans of spray paint and paper from a magazine and said make a space board out of that, I'd be like, I don't know, I think you're crazy. So this is an awesome vid. Um, the link is going to be down below if you haven't seen the video yet. And congratulations, Viv. Okay, so number 4. This one's going to be kind of awkward. It's Incursion. That's right. I mentioned it when talking about Viv. Truth be told, I was looking forward to this game as soon as I found out about it, and oftentimes I joke about it being a Space Hulk clone or a Space Hulk mod. But actually, it's kind of a fair description of this game. And the reason why I didn't pick Space Hulk, or I picked Incursion over Space Hulk, um, is because what Incursion modified about Space Hulk actually makes it a better game. For example, the ability to customize your 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 army in Space Hulk. Everything's kind of dictated to the players by the mission. You use this sergeant model, or you need a Terminator with a flamethrower for this mission. In Incursion, they use requisition points, and you buy the mission tells you, okay, you have, for example, 10 requisition points, and you have choices, and that's I feel a better way to do it. It adds variety. You can play the same mission over and over again, but you can tweak your list and try a new or different strategy. I also like the idea of the game cards being played, something that Space Hulk doesn't have, where you kind of have these gotcha moments on your opponent, like turning out the lights, or saving them from when they get shot. Or giving them extra action points. The background I prefer more. It's basically the Weird War 2 background, and that to me just sounds a lot more interesting than your, grim dark future that Space Hulk lies in. So I've been playing the crap out of this game ever since I got it, and it's become a favorite at my place of work. We play it at work all the time. And, once I get some more money, I'm going to get the expansions, which I got to say make the game even more interesting. Where Space Hulk, I think GW has released some expansion books where you can use the different, you can use, I think you can use uh, instead of Blood Angels, you can use Dark Angels, and I think there's one more faction. The Incursion expansions, you got new models, and you've got the British Monster Hunters, and unfortunately, it's a small company. I don't know if they're gonna produce any more things. I hope they do, and yeah, so that's my pick for number 4. And yeah, you're just gonna have to. I really enjoy it, so yeah. Okay, so my next award is for best quick tip vid in 2004. Um, this is gonna go to my main man, General Splatten. Yeah. Okay, so if you haven't seen this vid, I'm putting links to everything in the description below. I picked this one. This was his vid 268. I love how he numbers every vid. So he has like a running total. So it's easy to find something, I guess. I hope it's for cataloging. I'm not sure. Anyways, in vid 268, he covers how to correct matte varnish hazing or ghosting effects on miniatures. This was especially important. Well, let's see. The reason I picked it is because I haven't seen a video like this, and I've had this happen to me on a couple of occasions, and basically I've ended up tossing the miniature or just never using it, or redoing the entire thing. So tips like this. I mean, he does a lot of other things. I don't know if you never subscribe to his channel. He does a lot of showcase stuff, and he does reviews of products and everything. But what I really like about the General is, besides he's kind of a cool character, nice guy. What I really like is his tips from experience. Um, for example, he did a video. I want to say it was more than a year ago. One that really changed my life was one where he was giving tips on how to glue very small pieces of things, and he used basically that sticky putty stuff to do it, or you can use silly putty or something. And it really changed my life because, one, I don't see enough videos on YouTube about how to assemble things, and assembling models is really my weakest, what I consider my weakest thing about the hobby aspect. I know how to, I paint pretty decent. I can be a decent player. I can understand strategy, rules, and sort of that stuff. But when it comes to assembling models, it's just really, it's really tough for me. But anyways, going back to this video, it just you need to check it out. It's pretty cool. If you've ever been in that situation, I haven't seen another tutorial on how to correct that ghosting issue. And so, yeah, congratulations, General. You, sir, have helped me out on a number of occasions, and I hope other people that are watching this video feel the same way, because there are a lot of tips that you give out that has helped us out over the years. So thanks. Okay, so moving on to number 3 in our top 5 list, Super Dungeon Explorer. And let me explain. Super Dungeon Explorer is the main reason I decided to sign up for the Ninja program. I really love this game. At first, when I picked it up, I don't know, it was 2 years ago, something like that. Almost, I want to say about 3 years ago. I thought this was going to be one of those games that was going to be, style over substance. Just mainly because the chibi thing, and the look of it. It doesn't look like a very serious game, but in fact it can be. And one of the cool features about Super Dungeon Explorer is that because it has a console, it allows me, anyways, as a console, to adjust the level of intensity of the game. So, for example, if I'm playing with my nephew and my wife, or if you are running the game for inexperienced players or young players, um, you can adjust the level so that it's not so killy, or it's not so hard. Um, but for your hardcore, um, your hardcore gamer people, you can go all out as a console. And I've had it where you've wiped the party out, or they've won the game, which speaks to its absolute balance. You don't have to hold back as a console. So it's really cool. Not to mention the mechanics. I mean, I love the fact that it's very thematic with the a lot of video game mechanics put into it. It really feels like you're playing, an old JRPG. The way hearts can spawn out of killing or injuring monsters, and potions and that sort of thing. Item trading. The whole system is the combat system is very easy to learn, but there's complexity to the game with all the special abilities and potions and everything like that. Um, as far as a dungeon crawler, I mean, it's one of my favorites, and this year I've demoed Super Dungeon Explorer more than any other game, and under the Ninja division. I'm allowed to demo like Anima Tactics, Relic Knights, Eldorado. Um, but the game I enjoy demoing the most is Super Dungeon Explorer, and the reason being is I believe that this is one of those games that sort of can cross borders. People that aren't necessarily into tabletop wargaming, or don't know anything about tabletop wargaming, can jump into a game like Super Dungeon Explorer, and it could be that gateway drug. I believe, based on the Super Dungeon Explorer community that's out here, and the people that I've met and run the game for, it's really a unique um, game in that it draws the people that are very familiar with video games, are very familiar with anime, into something they're not familiar with, or not comfortable with, which would be tabletop and board games. And for that alone, I think this game deserves to be in a lot of people's top fives. It's mine for sure. I mean, I don't know if you follow any of my videos. I've built a 3D dungeon for it. I have all the expansions, and yeah, it's just a really good game. And again, it's deceptively intricate. It's deceptively complex, or you can play it very simplistic. And how many games can you say that about? So there you go. Number 3, Super Dungeon Explorer. So I'm going to jump in right with number 2, because this video is running a little bit long. And number 2 is Relic Knights. Yeah, what a surprise. I don't know if you've been following the channel recently. I've been playing a lot of Relic Knights. And yeah, so it's taken the number 2 slot of 2014. And to be honest, I had the same kind of presumptions about Relic Knights that I had about Super Dungeon Explorer, in that I thought it was going to be just this cool kind of concept of a game with a really cool theme of different uh, anime sort of clashing together in one universe. But what was surprising to me was that I wasn't so into the aesthetics or the models as much as I was into the mechanics of the rules. Relic Knights really um, pushes the limit when it comes to what we think of as tabletop war games. I mean, I've mentioned this in other videos before, but I'll just go over them real quick. Things like no standard deployment zones. Things where your objective markers can be moved, they could be smashed, they could be healed. Um, the it uses cards instead of dice. And the fact that there is no hit or miss in Relic Knights. You either have the Esper to pay for the attack, or you can't declare the attack. I mean, these are just some of the things about Relic Knights that I truly enjoy about the game. On top of, I am an anime fan, and I love the aesthetics of the game, and I love the theme. I love the little throwbacks to not only anime but certain fighting games. Um, yeah, you put all of that together, and you've got one of the best games that I've played. Now, because we're only in version 1, and it breaks so many conventional miniature wargame rules, there are problems with certain models being too powerful or certain abilities needing to be clarified or tweaked. But that's what version 1.5 or 2.0 will help balance these things out. I mean, for a first time go for a serious miniature wargaming, something that Soda Pop hasn't delved into, this was sort of new territory for them. This game is a really impressive first go, and I can't stop playing it. Also, speaking of anime, now last video I put the anime theme song in, but I think the sound quality was so bad, so I'm gonna give you guys a second chance. That's right, a second chance to put the comment in of what this anime is. Be first to put it in the comments and score the last point of 2014. Let's see if you guys can get it.
I was never right for the hero type of role. I admit it. With my heart shivering in fear, I can see today's reflected in each costume.
And the number one game of 2014 for me, Blood Bowl. Of course, it's Blood Bowl. I mean, what other game would you think I would pick for number one? What can I say about Blood Bowl in under 10 minutes or 5 minutes? Or I could spend days talking about how I think Blood Bowl is the best tabletop game of all time. I mean, let's just start off with logistically. Blood Bowl can cost you anywhere from $0 to whatever you want. That is because the rules are free and you can proxy all the models. What other game out there, what other tabletop game out there allows for the official tournaments for you to use whatever models you want to? Can't do that in 40K, can't do that in fantasy. But Blood Bowl is more than just a game. It's actually it's a success story. It's a game that was manifested by people who loved it as a community. They saved it from the evil clutches of GW. GW has tried to kill Blood Bowl for many, many years, and the community keeps it alive, through the NAF, through the living rule book. I mean, even GW has to, kind of let the Blood Bowl rules committee, write the rules, and then they put it on their official website. That is how influential the community is in Blood Bowl. So even beyond that, I mean, a lot of people they think of Blood Bowl as this kind of silly game. You know, the idea of orcs or goblins and dwarves playing football is silly to them. But it's only till you play the game do you realize that this is one of the most intense tactical games out there when it comes to, it's the closest thing to chess, really. If you look at the way movement and positioning is more important than stats and skills. I mean, all of those, yes, having, you know, players with the right stats in the right places does count for something, but you know, if you don't have your solid in-game tactics, you could have the best team and be, you know, bested by halflings. And let's not forget that the game also doesn't take itself very seriously with its lore, the team names. It's very tongue-in-cheek. You know, it's a parody of American football and rugby, and it's the weirdest idea for a game, but it spawned now you know, many imitators, and I'll say that, yes, you know, Dreadball is an imitation, Guild Ball is an imitation. It's, to me, nothing has even come close to how perfect a game Blood Bowl is, and I do mean this sincerely. You might think I'm trying to oversell the game, or you know, I'm overhyping it. But the more I play the game, the more I get an appreciation for everything. I mean, think about this. I mean, think about how many third-party manufacturers develop models for Blood Bowl. I mean, it's become its own thing. And if you look at its community, it's a community of players that don't necessarily play any other tabletop war game. It's kind of its own thing. It's kind of a weird anomaly, and it even has its own documentary. Let me just show you a quick clip of this. This is one of my favorite YouTube videos of all time.
99% of the population will look at these and go, what the fuck is that? But there's just that section of society to whom this is just like, this is bread and butter, this is a weekend's entertainment, a handful of dice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This game's about different types of teams with different types of players within them.
Go to 6 or 7 European countries a year just to play the game.
Money won't get you far in this game. You need to have the tactics in place.
The object is for me to get a player with the ball, however means, down into the end zone, then I score.
The team I'm using at the moment is quite a new team that has the ability to basically jump all over the pitch. They're frogmen.
I have all 21 teams, and I've played them all in tournaments around, the world, Europe, whatever.
So yeah, just watching that video again gets me really hyped up about Blood Bowl. That is a film by Matt LaRoche, and again, links will be down below if you want to check out the entire film. It's a really cool video because it not only talks about Blood Bowl, but it talks about dice in general, and it's really my favorite video of all time. So I thought I would highlight that as well. Anyways, that's it for 2014. I will. We're at the 30-minute mark again. Jesus Christ, man! I just like to ramble. Anyways, guys, appreciate you sitting through all of this, and here's to 2015. So, if you guys have channels, videos out there that you wish that were nominated, I don't know, for these phony fake awards that I've made up, let me know. You know, if there's content out there that I should be aware of, shoot me a link. You know, honestly, Congrats to all the winners and to the phony, fake, made up heretical awards and to the top 10 games of 2014, sort of. Just games that I played in 2014. Anyways, thanks for watching.